There was a king, a queen, and a princess. Oh, the princess was beautiful. The king and the queen loved the princess. The princess loved the king and the queen, and they wanted to stay together forever. Of course, it never works out that way. When the princess became 18, the king and the queen were flooded with requests from dukes and princes and knights. They all wanted to marry this beautiful princess. Trouble was, the king and the queen and the princess didn't want it to happen. What are we going to do? Said the queen. I don't know, said the king. Oh, help me, said the princess. I don't want to be married. I'll sort it, said the king. He went and saw the royal gamekeeper. Have you got any hares? He said, oh yeah, we've got about a couple of hundred in the cages ready to for the banquet. Can you bring 50 cages into the courtyard with hares? Yeah, I could do that, Your Majesty. Well, I want them there at 5 o'clock in the morning, yeah, and I'll see you there with a guest. Okay. Someone had written a letter. Desperate. I will do anything to marry the princess. So he was the first one that the king met. There's a little bit of a test. He said, I've got all these hares, my hares, the gamekeeper's hares, all caged in the courtyard. The person that can release those hares into the woods will have to catch them again and bring them back before the evening. Do you understand that? What do you mean? I'm going to let 50 hares out. You're going to catch them and bring them back in the evening. And if you can do that, you can marry the princess. We'll start in the morning, shall we? So in the morning, down comes the knight. All the hares are all in their cages. Release the hares, said the king. Open the cages, out run the hares, whoom, straight across the drawbridge and into the woods. All right, off you go then. Bring them back, and you can marry the princess. Didn't happen, did it? No. He said, I couldn't do it. He said, oh, did you read the small print on the information I gave you? Small print? He said, yeah, right at the bottom. You should have read it. And he looked and he said, yes, it was about the 50 hares that I have to catch them. Yeah, I did all that. No, look at the small print. If you fail, a strip of flesh will be torn from your back. Salt will be poured into the wound and rubbed. A little bit of pepper, perhaps. And then you're banished from the kingdom. I didn't. Always read the small print, said the king. Hold him down. They held the knight on the floor, stripped the flesh off his back, salt, bit of pepper. Off you go then. He could hardly walk. He was staggering with the pain. He said, don't you dare ever come back. Of course, once word got out about what had happened to a knight, not many people tried afterwards. In fact, no one tried at all for about a year. And then news got around amongst all the common population. There's a chance that they could marry the princess if they could catch the hares. Now, there's a farm nearby. 3 children, husband and wife, 3 children. The children were called Jesper, Paul, and Peter. Peter was the oldest. I can do it. I'm a farm boy. I know all about hares. Oh, don't go, said the mum and dad. You know what's going. No, I'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Off he went. He went up to the king's castle, knocked on the portcullis. What do you want? I want to see the king. I want to catch the hares. Come in. So he came in and he was ushered into the king's room, and the king says, what do you want? He said, well, I'd like to try to catch the hares. You read the small print? Yes, I have. Flesh off back, all that sort of thing. He said, okay. Be in the courtyard, 5 o'clock in the morning, and we'll see what happens. Well, Peter went down. The king was there. The hares were all bobbing up and down in the cage. The king said, look, I can see you're not particularly well fed, so we made a little lunchbox for you, yeah, just in case you get tired chasing the... Oh, thank you. Release the hares! Well, off they went, and he's still fumbling with his lunch pack. Yo! And off he went into the wood. Couldn't catch one, of course. He'd look, there'd be a hare behind a bush. He'd have a go at it, and the hare would disappear. Oh, he was in a terrible state. He suddenly realised he'd made an awful mistake. He sat down in the clearing and opened his lunch pack. A couple of ham sandwiches, a bit of cheese pickle, and a ham bone, all in there, lovely. And he started to eat it. Oh, I'll have a bit of ham first, you know. And suddenly, out of the woods and into the clearing came an old woman who couldn't give me a bit of that sandwich, can you? I'm really hungry. She said, I'm starving. I haven't eaten for days. Well, another day's not going to hurt you, is it? Push off. I got things to think about. And he munched on his sandwiches, and the old lady went, and went away. Nothing he could do. At least he had a full belly. He went back to the king. Where they are. Couldn't catch him. Ah, well, you know what's going to happen. Hold him down. Skin stripped off his back. Salt, pepper. Right, off you go. And he stumbled out to the castle gates. He was in a terrible state. Anyway, he got home, and there he was in agony. Do you know you did something really stupid? You must have. Peter, said his brother Paul, why couldn't you catch the... You don't want to know, he said. Ah, well, I do want to know, said Paul. I'm going to try myself. But what's happened to your brother? And we can't even work on the farm for a couple of months. For goodness, I'm off to see the king. Off went Paul, same sort of rigmarole, you know. There he is, lunch pack in his hands, 5 o'clock in the morning, released the hares, whoosh, off they went, and couldn't catch one of them. He sat down in a clearing, he thought, oh God. He opened his lunch pack and started to eat hams, and out of the woods came the same old lady. Sir, you couldn't spare me a bite, could you? I haven't eaten for 4 days. 4 days? Well, you can go another day, can't you? No, just, I've got things to think about. Off you go, Granny. Off she went, and when it came the evening and getting a bit darker, he thought, right, I've got to go back, face the music. So back he went. The king was there. Where are the hares? I got... Hold him down. Salt, pepper, up you go, and off you go. He could hardly move. The strip was from the top of his neck almost down to his bottom. Oh. He managed to make it home. When the father and the mother saw him, God, that's awful. You can't work for a month or 2 or 3 or a year even with that scar on your back. Jesper, the youngest, said, I'll sort it out. No, you can't go, Jesper, you can't. I will sort it out. Not a problem. And off he went. Following day, up to the king's castle, met the king. The king said, look, you've lost 2 brothers. It's going to be this. I know what I'm doing, said Jesper. Right, okay. Here's your lunch pack. Release the hares. And he was still holding his lunch pack when the hares just shot out into the woods. Off you go. Jesper went into the woods. Hares all over the place, but when he tried, it was gone. He tried to catch another one, it was gone. He sat down in the clearing. Need to think about this, he said. He opened his lunch pack and sat in. He wasn't really hungry, to be honest. Too worked up. And the old lady came after the woods into the clearing and said, hello. Oh, you couldn't give me a little bite of that sandwich. I haven't eaten for 5. You haven't eaten for 5 days? No, have the lot, Granny, go on. I'm not very hungry, to be honest. And she sat there and ate all the sandwiches, and Jesper was very quiet. Can I have that ham bone? I have the ham bone. So she picks up the ham bone, nibbles it right down to the bone, and then she does a strange thing. She bit one end off, bit the other end off, put it to her mouth like a little flute, and all the hares came and gathered around her. Watch, she said, turned the flute around, different note. The hares disappeared. You can have this, she said. Blow down that way, the hares will come to you. Blow the other way, they'll go away. And here's the trick, she said. When you blow the hares to come to you, oh, they will, even if they're in a grave, even if they're in a cell, even if they're in a butcher's shop, they will come to you. All you got to do is blow the other half, and away they go. Right, he said. Oh. And all the hares came, and off they went. He waited until evening came. All they came, hopping round him, and he walked into the castle with all of the hares marching behind him. The king counted them one by one. 48, 49, 50. Can I marry the princess now? No, you can't, not just yet. Did you read all the small print? You've got to do this for 5 days in a row. Not a problem, said Jesper. I'll keep in the bedroom that I was in last night. Oh, is that all right, Your Majesty? Yes, of course. Following day, Jesper was in the courtyard with his lunch, but hares disappeared. He called them to him in the woods, and there they were. All the hares were sleeping. Some were jumping around and boxing as hares do. And when it came to evening, they all formed around him, and off they went into the castle. Are they all there? Said, count them. 50. Right, you've got 3 more days. Right. See you in the morning. Okay. Can I sleep the same? Yeah, of course you can. The king went to the queen and I don't know what to do. Obviously, I just don't know what to do. I know. Why don't I pretend to be someone else and get a hair off him in the morning? I can be a very good little actress, said the princess. What? You watch, I'll get a hair off him. So off they went. In the morning, there he is, lunchbox, hair's gone. And he's out in the glade and he's playing with his flute, and the hare's all dancing, and suddenly this beautiful lady comes. Oh, she's gorgeous. I wonder if you could have a hare, please. Oh, sorry, no, you can't. They belong to the king. Oh, I desperately need a hare. We've got guests tonight and we've got nothing to feed them with. Please, can I have a hare? How desperate are you? He said, well, pretty. Okay, you can have a hare if you give me a nice slobbery kiss. Oh, well, no hare. Kiss, hare. Oh, all right then. She leaned forward, he grabbed her and gave her a right smacker. There, he said, grabbing the first hare, you can have this. Put it in your bag, love. Opens the bag, puts the hare in, closes the bag, puts all the little bits of gubbins around it, makes sure that the hare is safe and can't get out. There you are. Off you go. Thank you, she said, giggling. He knew it was the princess. She still had a crown on. Anyway, there she is, going back. She's almost at the castle when he turns the flute. The hare. And does all the buckles and everything else, jumps up and goes back into the wood. When it became evening, the king counted them all. Still 50. I thought you were going to get us a hare. I tried that. I really, really tried. He gave me a hare. I put it in my bag. I closed it all up as tightly as I could. And as soon as I got to the castle gates, the thing undid everything and galloped back into the woods. Well, you're useless, said the king. Absolutely useless. You can go, he said, tomorrow to his wife. Me? Yeah, you can do it. Yes, you can put on an old lady act. Right. Next day, there, same principle. Hares were let out. Jesper shot out after the hares. And within half an hour, this old stumbling lady came into the glade. Could give me a hare. Could you? I'm sorry, I can't. I desperately need a hare. My husband is sick and he needs something to eat that'll fill him. All we've got is turnips. Are you really that desperate for a hare? Yes, she said. He picks up a hare. You can have the hare if you give it a kiss. Give it a kiss? She said, well, you kiss the hare, you can have it. Don't kiss the hare, off you go. Right. He held the hare up to her face. She moved ever so close, and as she did, the hare sneezed all over her face. Ah! Yeah, it always does that, funnily enough. He said, give it a kiss. And she did. You can have the hare. I see you've got a backpack on. Put it in there for you? Oh, yes, please. So he stuffs the hare into the bag and everything is pulled up tight. It's over her shoulder and off she goes. And he knew it was the queen, of course. She didn't have a crown on this time. She had the royal robes. Dressed up to the nines, mink, ermine, the full bit, pretending to be an old woman. Anyway, as she got to the castle gates, there's the hare struggling inside. Pop! Backpack open, out it goes and into the woods. In the evening, Jesper comes back. Got the hares, said the king to his wife. Yes. All 50 of them? Yes. 48, 49, 50. I'll be here in the morning, said Jesper. Same thing, yeah. That'll be my what? My fourth day. You idiot, said the king. Any fool can get a hair off him. And you failed. Oh, no, I had the hair and it just jumped out. You didn't tie the bag up properly. Oh, God. I'll do it. I'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow came, lunch pack, waiting there, hares into the woods. There is Jesper sitting down, the hares all dozy in the sunlight, all beautiful day, flies humming, butterflies, and then suddenly he hears a horse. And on that horse is the king's gamekeeper. Hello, young man. King has sent me on a mission. I need a hare for tonight's banquet. King said nothing to me about it. I mean, there are plenty of hares. No. I can see you've got plenty of hares here. I'd like a hare. I can't. The king hasn't given permission. Look, I want a hare, said the gamekeeper. Well, if you're that desperate, said Jesper, get off the horse and kiss the horse's bum. Then I'll give you a hare. Yeah. Kiss the bum, hare. Don't kiss the bum, toodaloo. King worked himself around the back of the hare. Don't forget to lift the tail, said Jesper. There, you can have a hare. Saddlebags? Yes. Puts the hare in the saddlebag. And that saddlebag goes into another saddlebag. Oh, you came prepared, said Jesper. Tied them all together, slung over the horse, and off he went. Of course, Jesper knew it was the king. Yeah. He wasn't the gamekeeper. Not only did he have a crown and his robes on, but a royal scepter in his hand, pretending to be the gamekeeper indeed. Anyway, as the king almost got to the castle, there was a little whistle, scrabble, 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 out of the saddle, out of the next saddle, out of the third saddle, and woof, off the hare went. The king went back to the castle. Oh, and the princess and they're all waiting. You got it. No. He cheated. What do you mean he cheated? He gave it me, but it was a runaway hare. It just disappeared. Oh, just like mine did, said the prince. Just like mine did, said the queen. What are we going to do? Back comes Jesper. All the hares marching up. Gets inside their little cages. Right, Your Majesty, could I, now marry the princess? Oh, did you look on the back? Well, there's nothing. Oh gosh, you must have one of the old flyers, said the king. Yeah, there is another condition. We'll make sure that the princess is passed on tomorrow. We're having a celebration, a big celebration. Of course, you're invited. You're the main guest. We have kings, queens, everything here, and then we'll decide who is going to marry the princess. I don't like the sound of that, said Jesper. Don't you worry. We'll collect you when the time is right. Everything went on in the castle. Big banquet there, letters went up. And on the day, all the kings and queens and princes all turned up because it's going to be an announcement. Who is going to marry the princess? They're all sitting there, audience waiting. Jesper's at the back wondering what on earth is happening. And then the king comes with a massive bucket in his hand. Puts it on the floor. Right, said the king. Final test. Whoever can fill that bucket with truth can marry the princess. All you have to do is stand over the bucket and talk about yourself, truthfully. See if you can fill that bucket with truth. So Gervais, big solid man, came up and he said, looked in the bucket, and my name is St. Gervais. I'm a very strong knight. I fought for the king for 20 odd years. I have these, and it goes on and on and on. And then he stops. There, he says, that's my truth. King looks in the bucket. There's hardly anything there. That couldn't have been the whole truth. Next! And they work through all the aristocracy, kings, queens, and they all stand over, and they're all telling personal stories about themselves and truthful stories. And the king always says, no, that bucket's not full. Look at it, it's empty. Anybody else? Me, says Jesper. Come on, Jesper. Jesper stands over the bucket. The other day, I herded hares for the king. Strange old day. This beautiful girl came to the woods and begged me for a hare, and I said she could have it if she gave me a kiss. And she did. And I gave her a hare. That lovely little girl was the princess. Everybody looks at her, and she's gone bright red. Is this true? Said the king. Yes. Continue. So Jesper says, the day after this old lady came up and said her husband was in terrible distress and could I have, I said, yes, you can have a hare. But first you have to kiss it. Everybody starts giggling. And she did. She gave it a kiss, put her in a backpack, and off she went. She wasn't a normal old lady. She still had her robes on. It was the Queen. And everyone, did you kiss a hare? Right. Yes. Bucket full yet, Your Majesty? Oh, no, there's plenty of room in there, right. Well, anyway, the day after, there I am with the hares in the wood, and this big horse comes, and on this horse is a gamekeeper who told me that the king needed a hare, and I said, well, I can't give it you, can't give you the hare. But he must have the hare, said the king. I tell you what, said Jesper. I said, you can have the hare if you kiss the horse's bum. In the end, he did. He lifted the tail, gave it a good old kiss, and I gave him the hare. Now that person that kissed the horse's bum was, oh, look, he said, the king, it's full. Oh, well done, Jesper. You can marry my daughter tomorrow.